All right, we are live. Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream. I am your host, Jeff Freeman, and right over here we have Jack Campbell. Jack, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine, Jeff. Having a good day.
Yes, for sure. I know. I say, here we are. We're starting. The leaves are just starting to change a little bit. We're starting to work our way into the fall season. I actually kind of like it. I mean, this is a good time of year. It's still kind of humid though.
I got my Oak Island fixed a little bit last night, so that helps
I
a
know.
lot.
Wasn't that cool? They had the drilling down last night, and
Especially the 10 things we've never seen before.
Yeah, I know. I kept thinking, okay, this is going to be that. We're going to talk about one of them tonight, the walk. And no, okay. Well, I did miss part of it because I was actually doing some other stuff, but I got to see about half the show. But I thought that was really neat. I was pretty impressed. That and we needed. I think everybody needed to get a little bit of a Oak Island fix, did we not?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know, something new, for a change. You got me coming on here and doing our revisits and all that. We hope you guys will be enjoying that with us. Let's see who we got. Pam's here with us tonight.
Yeah.
And,
Wayne Murphy's here.
I'm sorry, who?
Wayne Murphy.
Hey Wayne, how you doing? Yep. And Pam Block. All right. We got Sand Dollar Ray is over there on the YouTube side. Kate is with us. Jeff is with us. Jeff, how you doing? Let's see. I think Kate and Ray D, Alan Roy. All right. Good crowd showing up here tonight. Well, as I said last night, it was kind of nice to get that little bit of the Oak Island new stuff there. And that was Maddie Blake, obviously, out there. That was funny because when we were talking to Karen, public cover, who's on the Oak Island on the other side of the causeway. That's her Facebook page. And she was showing us pictures of Maddie that was while he was filming on the causeway. So that was when when we watched that last night, there he was standing on the causeway talking about it. And so that was kind of neat because that was her showing us those pictures of him out there filming those parts. So that was
that one shot, he was getting awful wet too.
Yeah, it was raining for sure. Yep. We got a Twitch viewer over there, J.A. Marnock. Welcome. Glad you're here with us tonight. Tom Burns.
Welcome.
Yep. Hey, Tom. Glad to see you. So tonight I wanted to, obviously we're going to be talking a little bit about season 8, episode 13 and 14 tonight. But before we do that, I would actually like to give a little bit of an update. As you know, we have been working with Maritime Tartan and their fundraising, and I am going to just go ahead and bring on Dale Carney right now. Dale, how you doing tonight?
I'm cold. It's cold in Nova Scotia tonight.
Is it? Oh,
it's
man.
chilly.
Yeah. Is it a clear night there tonight?
It's nice out. It was a beautiful, beautiful day for everything today. And it was it's nice and clear tonight, but it's chilly. I think it's down about 10 degrees Celsius.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so the weather is definitely changing down here now. The days are like 20 degrees Celsius, but the nights are getting cool.
Yeah. Trees are trees changing color pretty well.
Starting to, yeah. Yep. They're starting to get really
down in single digits before you know it, probably at night.
Yeah. Yeah, we're expecting snow early this year. They're saying probably late November, early December.
Ooh. Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how are things going with the fundraiser? As you folks know, they're going to be giving a hat away, but I'll let Dale explain all this a little bit for those of you who may not know. But we were kind of wondering how the fundraiser are going and where you are right now.
The fundraiser is going quite well. Steve Guptill wrote me the other day and said that he finally got Billy to sign the hat.
All right, good.
Which a lot of people are asking if he signed it, and yes, he officially signed it now. So it's all. I think it's almost all the cast members: Marty, Rick, Steve, Lairs, Billy. There's so many on there. Mm-hmm. Right now, we're at about $10,493 raised.
Wow, fantastic!
So every cent that's raised is going to Christmas Daddies to help kids in need. So it's going to help a lot of children, and we still got about 5 weeks left.
Wow, that's great. Now, obviously, we were talking about the fact that the drawing. You were explaining a little bit about for every $5 you get a draw entry for the hat, one of the hats.
Yeah, every $5 is donated. We're going to you get one ballot, which goes into a big tote, and on the 15th of November, we're going to come on here and do a live drop, and the name that we pull out is going to get the hat, and we'll ship it to you on us, so you don't have to worry about anything shipping or anything like that. We'll write you as soon as we find out who wins, and go from there. So there's two hats. There's a pink purplish color one and a yellow one. So whoever wins can pick the color hat they want. The other one's going to go on the live auction on CTV on December 4th, I believe.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's a good deal. I mean, if you even if you do $5 and you win, I mean, you're going to get something that when they find the treasure, that hat's going to be a piece of history.
Yeah, it definitely. The value of that hat will go up once they find the treasure in the money pit. For sure. Yeah. So, but anyway, it's a really great cause, folks. It's Christmas Daddies, and as Dale was talking about there, on CTV. On December 4th, they will be doing a telethon. It's like 7 hours long. There's everything. It's all volunteer, all the station people, all the performers, everybody that's there. It's all volunteer. So that's really going to be cool. And all the money goes to needy families for Christmas gifts and Christmas tree or whatever during the holiday season for those in need. So it's a really good cause.
This hat's really taken off. I mean, we didn't expect it to get this much, but there's a lot of generous people and a lot of people have interest in Oak Island. And the guys are kind enough to donate this. So, yeah. I mean, it's a win-win. I mean, the more we bring in, the more people we can help. Every $5 helps. It doesn't matter if you donate $5, $500, $5,000. It's all going to help these kids in need of Christmas.
Yep.
And I mean, it's looking great for the Oak Island folks too. I mean, that they donated these and it's raising so much money. It just shows how well respected they are and how popular they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
It really and that they're taking the time to do it for you.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I mean, they're busy right now and they took the time to sign all these. So, I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, not only that, we had Steve and Scott Barlow, Steve Guptill and Scott Barlow on the show last Sunday.
Yeah.
The weekend is theirs, right? The weekend is theirs to go home, spend time with their families, and yet they took the time out of their day to come on and jump on the show with you and talk about this because they feel that strongly about it. So that means that shows you that all they're into it so much.
And Steve was telling me that when they had their meetings in the war room, one of the main questions that always comes up is, what's the hat at now?
Yeah, that's cool.
So, I mean, they talk about it daily down there on the island. They want to know where it's at, what's going on with it. We've had a cast member on the show. One of his wives donated $1,000. So, wow. I mean, and they just like helping kids. So where this is going to help children, I mean, it's getting a lot of attention. It may be going on TV here to bring us some more funds. I'm not sure. I'm just waiting to find out if we're going to be on a morning show here with CTV.
Oh, all right, nice.
So it's going to bring in a lot of money. Even if you don't win, at least you're helping some children have a Christmas that normally wouldn't have one.
Yep, that's for sure. And like he said, we're going to be doing the drawing for the hat. It'll be on November 15th. I don't think we picked a time yet. That's a Monday. And of course, I work all day. So hopefully
in the evening.
Yeah, we'll do it in the evening. We'll put the time out well in advance, folks. We'll let you know what time the drawing will be. And we'll jump on and do a quick show just to show and get that picked and then announce the winner and all of that. So if you've done a donation for this, just be expecting to see that drawing on November 15th. Probably be, I don't know, we're an hour difference from those of you up by Oak Island in Nova Scotia. So, they're an hour ahead of us. So probably be around 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, something like that. We'll pick a time. We'll get it done so that Dale doesn't have to stay up too late.
I'm sure you guys will post the link a couple of times on here.
Yeah, we will.
We'll do that.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah. So like I said, anything from $5, $5,000, it doesn't matter. It's all going to charity to help these kids this year.
Yep. Fantastic.
And I think there's talks of doing a check flip, which means we're going to get a check written, a big check, and doing it with some of the guys from Oak Island down at the Causeway.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be neat.
Yeah. It'd be, we're going to probably do it, and then we'll get a couple of pictures, and then it'll be posted live. We'll do a live video of it on Christmas, on December 4th. We'll just tape it, and then they'll air it on Christmas Daddies.
Yep.
But I'll get some pictures beforehand and share them with you.
That'd be great.
Oh,
and we'd be
great.
Yeah, we'll definitely put them up. That's really cool. Yeah. Tom Burns just said the kids are the winners. You're absolutely right, Tom. That's exactly right. And that's what this is all about. And because of the fact that you guys are all involved in it, it's the least we could do to help try to get this out for you and
definitely
to get it out to the public. And we really feel honored to be part of it. We really
do. We appreciate it. Trust me, we appreciate
this. This is an honor for us for good cause.
It really is.
It's a big help to the kids in need. Like I said, this fundraiser is the biggest one they do, and they just Christmas Daddies just gives it over to Salvation Army, and Salvation Army disperses the money. They buy the presents and all that stuff. So it's quite well organized.
That's great. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on and giving us that update. And as we go along, we'll probably reach out to you again.
Not a problem.
And so give us an update as we go along before we get to November. So you got a couple more chances to come on here with me. So I really appreciate it, Dale. You have a great evening.
You too.
Have a
Enjoy
good
your
evening.
chat. Have a good night.
All right. Good night now.
Thanks.
All right. Fantastic. Well, folks, there you go. There's our update for what's happening with the Maritime Tartan, the fundraiser that they're doing for to present a check over to Christmas Daddy. So really glad to be part of that. This is really a good cause. All right. Season 8, episode 13. What do you think, Jack? Should we jump right into it?
Let's go right into it. I'm ready.
All right. So, all right. So, as you know, folks, me and my pictures, I'm going to get started. Whoa, let's get this. I forgot to get the picture up first. Oop, there we go. All right. So, as you know, I like to start off with a good old shot of the island, and I love these pictures.
I never get tired of that shot.
I know. I love all these. I try to pick a different one all the time, even though they might look similar. But so I like grabbing different pictures. But there you see the island. Oh, by the way, the phone line is up. If anybody would like to call in tonight and talk about season 8, anything in season 8 or prior to, more than happy to talk about that. So we got the phone number right there. And the phone is on. Everything's connected. So if you want to call in, please feel free to do that. We'd love to hear from you guys. Hey, we got the awoken ones out there too. Let's see. Please mention how else to donate other than online, like a telephone number, other way to address the. Okay, yeah, we'll put something up in the chat there, and so we can get that out to you. Let's see. That was Sharon. Okay, we'll put something up there in the chat. I know there's several ways you can donate stuff, and you can also, if you live up in the area, they got, I think it's called Giant Tiger, the stores there. You can actually drop off donations. I think with there too. I'm not sure about that, but I know there's also you can buy gifts and drop off gifts as well. So there might be some other ways to do that. Elaine says, "Hi everybody from down under. Hope you are well." Wow, down in Australia.
Australia.
That's awesome. All right.
There's summer down there coming up. If I am correct about that.
Yeah. What's up? Oh, we got the awoken one. Yeah. All right, Elaine. Thanks for coming by. All you guys really do appreciate it. Oh, yeah. You can donate through PayPal. That's right. Yep. I did see that link. And that's the way I did it the second time. I did it that way through PayPal. All right. All right. As we continue on. Okay. So starting off with episode 13, the Fellowship of the Ringbolt. Rick and Tom head out to the swamp, to the southeast corner of the swamp, so that they can get another look at the paved roadway out there. The rock roadway, the roadway. Man, I'm having trouble talking tonight. You got Aaron and Liz and Miriam. Everybody's out there working on the roadway, getting everything done out there. Oh, we got a call coming in. All right, let's see who this is. Hello.
Hello.
Who's this?
This is Brian.
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Okay.
What's on your mind tonight, Brian?
Well, is this the show that's going on about Oak Island?
Yes, it is. You got Jeff and Jack right here. All right.
Yeah. I have a question.
Sure.
And it was about the show that aired last night on History.
Okay.
And it was more about season 8 than it was about season 9.
That's very true. Yep.
Okay. So I was wondering if you thought any of those 10 things that they revealed that they discovered were particularly impactful to you guys.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I saw a few of them. I actually, as I admitted there in the beginning, I actually missed about half the show, and I was watching a little bit of the beginning when I caught some more pieces of it on a rerun today. But yeah, I thought it was interesting to see, and I've talked about this before, that how people will find, pins or, the spikes or whatever. And we're like, oh, there's another spike or whatever, but yet they're actually very cool in the long run. I thought one of the interesting things was that weird hammer It was right toward. I
Yes.
think that was like the second item they found. It was a
Right.
weird looking hammer. Is that what you thought it was, Brian?
Pardon me?
Did you think it was a hammer? Is that what it looked like to you?
Yeah, that's my best guess. I mean, that, I don't really know. I'm pretty fascinated by the preponderance of evidence of all the finds, and they talked about how many finds they
I
had
know that was crazy.
last season that they weren't able to put on the air.
Mhm.
And I mean, the preponderance of evidence is really starting to grow,
Yep.
kind of exponentially, it seems like.
Yeah, for sure. And now they have such a wide, a lot of people, a wide variety of team members, involved in this. And of course, Gary out there, and Gary's great with that metal detector, but he's also great with his twin optical sensors. I mean, seeing things. I mean, he just, when he's out metal detecting, all of a sudden he'll reach down and pick up a piece of pottery or whatever, as well on the way. And just, that's really neat. And then all the bits and pieces of pottery they found last year. But yeah, that weird hammer I thought was pretty cool. What do you think, Jack? What was your
They found a couple pieces talking about the ship that I keep talking about also.
yeah. Yep.
And nobody seems to really want to talk about it. They want to talk about it, but they can't get to it.
Yeah.
It seems like they did last year. They wanted to get to it, but it was too late in the year
Yep.
for them to get to it.
Right.
But I think it's just amazing how much they find, and then it kind of ties in, and some of it tied in. Gee, okay, well, I can remember where they found parts of it before.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. What?
But
Yeah.
It
I
also seems
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah,
I was just going to say the difficulty seems to be that there are so many different theories
Mm-hmm.
about what could have happened there and how it could have happened and all of that.
And by who?
And and where do you investigate? And which of the theories do you try to chase?
Yep.
I'm sure there's a lot more of that discussion that goes on behind the scenes
Oh,
that
for
we
sure.
don't see.
Yep.
And it has to. I mean, they have to have some freedom to talk about that. But I think it would be nice to see a little bit more about some of that debate,
Mm-hmm.
about what could be and what areas they're more interested in.
Yep.
They kind of keep that more secret, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Well, they get the different and like you said, they get inundated. I'm sure Rick, I think Rick has actually mentioned it before. Maybe it was Marty had mentioned about the fact that they get inundated with so many different theories from people. Every single day, people are sending them, oh, I got a theory where the money pit is and all that. And they have to kind of weed through that to try to find out whose is more plausible than somebody else's, and then look into it a little bit and see what they brought to the table. For instance, how much research did they do? And you can tell pretty quickly if somebody, brings something to the table, whether or not they did their due diligence and really research this out. We saw like Erin Helton on the show, and we'll be talking about. Well, we kind of did already talk about her information that she brought to the table. We know
Yes.
Corian Mole and Christopher Morford bringing their information out. Court Lindahl. We've had so many people that have brought good theories. Jeffrey Irving,
Jeff
have brought
Mcquisten.
James McQuiston, have brought some great theories to the table. But you're right, but if it's a plausible theory, like Marty was saying, you pretty much have to at least check it out. If it's going to be an expensive thing, then you got to really, think about that. But if it comes down to just popping a couple holes in the ground just to see if that shaft is there or something is going on in that area, yeah, it's expensive, but it's worth doing. Don't you think?
Yeah.
The biggest evidence they seem to have gotten the last couple of years has been in the swamp. That just seems to be, they have just found so much there that they don't know what they have, I don't think, there yet.
Not completely. No, I don't think so either. They found the road, obviously that's what we're going through now is the road that they've discovered. And then as it heads off, and then in the process of that road, as we'll see tonight as we go along, the different things that they found in and around that roadway as well. So very interesting finds. But yeah, I was pretty interested in some of the things that they found last night. That was pretty cool. What was your? Did I already ask you that question? What was your favorite thing that they found yesterday? Did you have a favorite?
I didn't really have one that was a favorite. It was just the thing that struck me was that they had so many finds.
Yep.
That they were unable to air them all.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yep.
Even the 10 that they showed us was just, I'm trying to remember what the number was, but it was, like 200 more items that they had found.
Yeah, over 200 items.
And I'm just, I'm
blown away by that.
My friends are tired of hearing me talk about this because I'm more excited now than I've ever been about this show and what they're doing up there. And, I just can't wait.
No, I know how you feel.
We're all that way.
Yeah. Any of us that are truly acorns, and I'm one, Matty Blake came on and he said, we're all acorns. He's like the head acorn. We talked about that and the fact that, and you go into, I'll be talking about it at work and some people are like, oak what? And I mean, like Oak Island, the show where they're looking for treasure and even people that are familiar with it, they're just like, oh, for crying out loud, they found another piece of wood. No, you don't understand how important that piece of wood is when they get it dated, or as we talk about tonight, where that piece of wood was and what it means and how it helps them to go and find something else. And we'll talk about that as we go along here, but is it another, and even Marty has said, I'm tired of finding wood, but yes, but it is, it is important in the long run. You know what I mean?
Every piece is like a jigsaw puzzle, trying to put everything together.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah. Tom Burns said, yep. Some people think we're all nuts. Acorns. We're all acorns. Acorn nuts. Yes, we are for sure. Yep. So yeah, I was pretty happy to see that last night.
That was a nice treat. I could go for even more.
I know. I'm with you on that. I could too. I could really. I think they will. I don't know. It just seems like Maddie spent quite a bit of time on the island this summer, so we may see some more stuff. A
lot more drilling downs.
Before the season starts. I hope so. Anyway, I don't know. They gave us a little tidbit last night, which was really nice, and I think it'd be nice to see a little bit more. As we go along here before the season starts, because now we're getting down to the wire now. I mean, November 2nd is coming quickly, but not quickly
4
enough.
weeks.
Yeah, I know. Whew, I'm ready. I am ready. Yeah. And that's the thing of it. It's like with any TV show that you watch on, if you get into the series, you're getting into the actors and all of that and the storyline and all this. Well, this is reality TV. This is a real thing. And the fact that it's not scripted and the fact that it's just real people, just like all of us, like you and me, Brian, we're just like, and all of a sudden you get chosen to go out and be on that island and help to discover something. And it's just real people out there doing this. It's not scripted. That just makes it so real. And if you've been watching it from the beginning now, 8 seasons, you feel, me too. And you feel like you know these guys. And I remember when Dave Blankenship said that on that one episode of Drilling Down with Maddie last season, he had said people who would come up to him and say, I know you. And he said, you don't know me. Well, in a sense we do. And he knows that. He was being joking about that. But in a sense, we do feel like we know you because we've been watching you and you draw us into this story with you.
You feel like you're part of the group.
Yeah, like exactly. That's a good point, Jack. Like we're part of that group with you. And I mean, everybody that's watching would love to grab a trowel and go out there and dig in the mud. I'd go out there on that stone roadway right there and start digging in between those rocks or the mud just to be out there and be part of it. Huh? Wouldn't you, Brian?
Well, I think I want to find out what that swamp really smells like
before
we get out there.
Oh yeah, they ought to bottle that smell, the essence of the swamp. Oh man, yeah, that'd be the new fragrance from men, essence of swamp.
Essence of swamp.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's yeah, when they were digging actually in this episode, one of these two episodes here, 13 or 14, they were digging that sloppy muck up out of there. And he said, "Oh, that smell. Isn't that great?" Yeah. Mm. Well, I'm from the UP of Michigan. I have smelled some pretty nasty swamps. And I would imagine very similar to this one. I don't know, but this one's a mixture of salt water, which we don't get that in the UP of Michigan, but salt water and brine and everything else mixed in with the muck. Yeah, it's got to be pretty nasty.
And the bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the bugs. Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Well, I'm from Minnesota, so.
Oh, there you go. Then you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody said the smell of money. That was Henry. Hey, Henry.
Glad to have you, Henry.
yeah, that's what that is. Fragrance for men, essence of swamp.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna buy
a lot of people have been bitten by the Oak Island bug. I mean, a lot of famous people.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yep.
It's one of those. There are just too many things going on there for it to be coincidental.
Oh yeah, I agree. It really is. And then, like we said, we've been going through this and going over the show and everything. And the fact that, over the years, that so many different people have been on the island, groups of people, such as the French and the English and that we know of, and going back and forth and even Nova Scotia changing hands of who was in control of the country and stuff over the many years of it. So we know a lot of different, and pirates, we know pirates have been in the area, well documented. So we know all that's been going on. And so, with the things that they're finding, definitely lead to that. And something you had mentioned, Brian, was at the end of, are you talking about the show last night, all the different artifacts that were found, and they were showing them, talking about, there was a mosaic of pictures showing all the different things that they found over the whole season 8. But at the was it at the end of season 9, or was it I'm sorry, 8 or 7, where they had everything laid out on the table in the war room? Remember that?
Yeah.
All those things, and it was showing. It wasn't everything they found, but they were laying it all out, and it was showing the date ranges and how far back, and in each item and its date range. I thought that was fascinating as well. I love that. I thought that was really an eye opening.
And then Marty pulled that toonie out.
Yeah.
And threw it.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that.
Yep, the tuning and how it moved.
Yeah, that was great. That just showing that there's some movement down underneath that they're not accounting for and didn't know was there.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yep, you're right. And so that means that there is, we were trying to think of what was causing that, because I don't know if I necessarily believe that there's actually a current of water going through there, and they've sent down the cameras and stuff, and you don't see, current flowing through there. It would constantly be muddy. And so what would cause that toonie to move? And I forget what the actual distance was, how far it went down there from the one caisson going down to our pipe. Actually, he put it down in a well pipe. And how far over it had moved. I forget, it was 10 feet or 15 feet, something like that, when they pulled it back up.
Yeah.
But
I was thinking 8 or 10 feet.
Yeah, it was about 10 feet. Yeah. So, I mean, so the fact that it moved, what would cause that? And, we were thinking about the fact that hammer grab is going down in the caisson, and it would be like a plunger, I think or a piston going down in a pipe, and that would cause some movement in that water down there when they're reaching down and grabbing, if they were in a chamber. So that would be, one way possibly that it would move. I don't know how else. I can't imagine there's current down there. I just can't. I don't know that.
Well, I don't think it's current in the typical sense that it's water current. But I think that the possibility exists because of the hydrate that you have down there as a substrate, that water could be pooled up from those flood tunnels coming in.
Yep.
And that water and dirt, mud, is going to try to seek, its lowest point and may be moving. Because it took it a couple of years, I think, for it to move that far. So it's not like
Right.
it's a rushing stream. It's more like,
Right.
A blob.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're exactly right. So I don't know. I don't know what else. I mean, the tide. Yeah, that's what J.A. Marnock said. The hammer grab creating suction from another hole. That's what I was kind of thinking. If it's hitting down into the open chamber, or an area where it would. I think that would be causing like a piston action and creating pressure movement. Otherwise, maybe if the flood tunnels are still connected, which I find that kind of hard to believe. I guess they would have to be because they've tried pumping out, some of these. They tried pumping them out at some point. And remember, they did the dye test when they poured the dye down.
Yeah.
If
they exclusively, they tested the water that they collected out of
Smooth Cove.
The cove.
Yep.
And it had the actual molecular
the dye in it.
Yeah, dye in it. So
Yep. So that means that they must still be connected.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a connection there. Whether they're all working, I don't know, but
yeah. So I was thinking about the tide. As the tide raises and lowers every day, would that cause some kind of movement?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure. But yeah, what made that toonie move? We just don't know for sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So yeah, that was it was good though. I'm glad that we covered that stuff last night. That was a good feed to give us a little bit more information on what's happening. And again, there's so much going on this island that more than meets the eye, and it's one of those things that you try to explain to somebody, like you had mentioned before. You try to explain to them what's happening. Yeah, they're looking for treasure on this island. Well, have they found anything? Well, they found some stuff, but they haven't found any treasure. It's a bunch of hoke, so they don't really believe in it. But when they sit back for a minute and you think about the fact that there were people working underground 150, 60, 70 feet underground or more, and there's tunnel structures down there and all of that were pre-searchers. So it just leaves you to the question of what were these people doing down there, and back that far back in time. It wasn't like they were doing this in the early 1900s. They were back there in the 1600s or the 1500s doing this kind of stuff. Why would they have been down there doing this in the first place? So, and again, and people have heard me say this before, but you talk about the mining. Well, there really wasn't any mining. There's no record of mining ever taking place on the island. So what else would they be doing down that deep other than trying to hide something? Would a pirate hide something down that deep? No, a pirate's not going to go through all that trouble. He's going to shallow. It's going to be a shallow bury.
10 to 12 feet, and that's it.
Right. Are you going to bury bodies down that deep? No, you're not going to go to all that trouble to bury a body. So what else were they doing down there?
I mean, that's really a long way down. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's,
So what were they doing down there? It had to be something very important and very significant to be bothering with going that deep underground. Period. It just
and the amount of manpower it took. I mean,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
That is not something that you would do casually.
Right. And you try to explain that to somebody who doesn't really believe in the show, and they're just like, yeah, whatever, But if they stop and think about it, then they will have to ponder that themselves and go, what were they doing down there? And the bones found down there and everything else. It's like, and the fragments and the pieces they're pulling up. It's like, it's just, that's what I want to know. I mean, I want to know, even if there's no treasure, I still want to know what's going on. Don't
exactly.
you?
Yeah. And I agree. There may or may not be treasure. Who knows?
Yeah.
But the story of what went on there is, and they talk about on the show rewriting history maybe with what they find out.
Yep.
I think, hasn't history already been rewritten?
I think so, but I think some of the scholars aren't ready to admit it yet.
Is that right?
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, we still stick with this, our textbooks when we were kids, saying that Christopher Columbus discovered America in 1492. Well, we know that that's not true, that there were people here before that. We already know that.
Right.
The Norse were here. The Vikings were here prior to that. And there's good evidence to show that there were others that were here prior to that as well.
Right.
So was it the Templars? I don't know. That's still on the table as to whether or not we find a solid evidence. But I think that some of the finds on Oak Island have kind of led to believe like the lead cross. Is it absolutely definitive that it was Templar cross? No, it's not. But the correlation or the relationship to that cross to what was carved on the wall in Nome, dome. What else?
Powerful. Huh?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
And you tie these pieces together, and it leads you to believe that's and there's other things too, like Nolan's cross. Who's going to go to the trouble to build Nolan's cross like that?
Or put a tunnel 180 feet deep.
Yeah.
That's wildly under celebrated.
Yeah.
Nolan's cross.
Yes.
That's an amazing structure
Mm-hmm.
that was put together there. And obviously, I once dug a hole in my backyard and I maybe found a rock that was 3 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you what, it took 4 people to move that rock.
Yeah. Yep.
So what would it take to move those big stones?
I don't know. An awful lot of effort to move those big boulder. The cones, Cone E and all those that they moved to make Nolan's cross were huge. And the effort, you're right, the effort that had gone into actually moving those things is phenomenal.
And they're in a straight line. So there's no way that was accidental.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, it was purposely built. And so that begs the question as to why. Why would somebody go through all that trouble and manpower, like you had mentioned before, Brian, the manpower to do these things? Why would they go through all that effort just to build a cross and walk away and leave it there? Okay, that was fun. What are we going to do now? It has to mean something. It's there for a purpose. It's like putting the stones around the eye of the swamp and in a ring around the eye. Why go through that trouble if it's just simply to go, okay, we put the stones there. Yeah, let's have some fun. Let's do something else. It has to mean something,
Let's
now
build a road.
yeah, let's build a road in the swamp.
Build a road
Now,
in the swamp.
And then,
Let's build a wall.
yeah, and then let it flood. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, you're right. Yep. All right. So yeah. So all right. Yeah. I was just getting the notice where you need to get moving along here with the show. So but yeah, you're welcome to hang out if you'd like. And I'm gonna continue on. I did want to comment. A couple people have mentioned something that I wanted to comment on. Let's see. Elaine was one of them over on the YouTube side. She says, "Me too. Love the story and the things that they find. What a legacy that the brothers will have once the scholars get their act together and believe." Very well said, Elaine. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Janet said over here, history will never stop being rewritten as long as new generations keep coming along and finding new things. This is what our children's history books have to keep being replaced and updated with the facts. Yeah. John said, just imagine how much manpower it would take to make the markers on all and all of the subterranean structures. Yep.
Right.
There's just so much that, Tom said, it's not what you believe or even know. It's what you can prove that ultimately correct the history records. Yes. Very, very well said again. The wonderful things about visiting museums and knowledge and artifacts will be held them so important. Yep. So a lot of good comments, Henry said pirates did hide treasure and would have the manpower to do it, but not at such depths.
Right.
Exactly. Yep. So, and again, like we said with Nolan's Cross and all these other things like that, it's just, man, are you going to take the time to do all that? I don't know. It's just for simply doing it. It's not, it has to mean something. There's more to it than that. So, all right. So I'm going to keep going along here. And if, like I said, Brian, if you want to hang out, you're welcome to. You can comment on some stuff here. The next picture I flipped up was when Rick jumped right down in the hole. They said, "Hey, what's that?" And he jumped down in that hole right there. We're still in the southeast corner of the swamp down there. Now they're right actually on the edge of the road. The road is right there, the man-made road that's running along the bottom of the swamp there, cutting off the swamp to the ocean. And he jumped right down in there, and he's finding more rock along the way. And Dr. Spooner's there with him, and they're taking a look at some stuff. And you can see the rock wall. It looks like a ledge. Jack and I were just talking a moment ago about the fact that is this underneath the actual road that's there now, the modern road?
I told Jeff, I thought, well, maybe this road started to sink, and they just had to redo it all over again.
I mean, I kind of thought, initially I kind of thought the same thing, that these stones are all piled up there, and it's kind of underneath or getting close to being underneath the road that's the modern road. So interesting that's there. But he went down there, of course, and they were taking a look at it, and they did find some wood. And there's a piece of it here that Dr. Spooner found, and he pulled out and handed up to Rick. That was showing that it was definitely had been hand hewn with an axe or something, cut wood that they found down there. So, I mean, it just leads again. And as Brian and I, we were all just talking about the fact that why go to the trouble of this road? The road has a purpose. They found coal. They found other bits and pieces of coal along the way for sure. Okay, Jeff, do you think the road is pre-Columbian? I think that here, put it this way. The road is at the same, Steve Guptill went out there, and we were going to talk about that in a minute, but Steve Guptill went out there and did his actual, he got the sea level
stick.
Yeah, he got his big GPS stick, and he got the sea level of it, and found that the sea level of the road over by where they're uncovered at southeast corner, and the road going down towards Nolan's Peninsula is the same height, 4 feet or a couple feet above sea level. And that also matches what's on the other side with the platform that they found in season 7. And a piece of wood was found in there that was dated 1220, was it, Jack?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
that's when the swamp was made by Dr. Spooner.
Right. Now, if all those things are all true, then I would say, yes, it's pre-Columbian. What do you think?
I think we're looking at maybe possible pre-Columbian, but I think they've got a ways. They're halfway there. They really haven't. Mm-hmm. We need more dates is what we need.
Yeah. Yep. Next along the way, they found this lock. Gary pulled this lock up out of there and metal detecting, and he this was pretty cool. Yeah. So John said 1220. That's pre-Columbian. Yes, it is. Yeah, exactly. Oh, looks like somebody else is calling in.
You want to take that call? I can.
Yeah, sure. Let's grab that one and see if somebody else has some comments. All right. Thanks, Brian, for calling in. We appreciate it. Call in again.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Hello.
All right, thanks, Brian.
Hello.
Hey, you got to turn down your whatever you're watching the show on. You got to turn that down for us.
Delay
there.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Who are we talking with?
Jim Mcquisten.
Hey, Jim.
Hey,
How you
Jim.
doing? Good to talk to you
again.
Yeah.
Good to hear from you.
So this is the author, everybody. This is the author, James Mcquisten, who has written many books and about Oak Island and all of that. I got a couple of them right back here behind me on the bookshelf. So
it's been our pleasure to have him on our show a couple of times. Also.
Yeah, exactly. So how you doing, Jim?
Good. I've been saying this for a little while, but I didn't really get it totally verbalized in my head till tonight when I was watching the show. But I think it helps because there's so much scattered artifacts and information that it helps to compartmentalize a little bit. And they always want to divide it between depositor and searcher, but there was a dwell time in there of just settlers from about the 1750s up till 1795, when there were just people carrying out regular settler things. So some items could be attributed to that.
That's very true.
But I think the same thing's true with particularly the swamp. The tides, you mentioned the tides earlier, but they're 5 to 6 feet, my understanding is, coming in there. And stuff washes in with the tides all the time. And you know that from Lake Michigan, and I know that from Lake Erie. And you get somebody's back steps in your beach, you know, or whatever. But, and if you think there's 300 and some islands, and the tide can wash things by, most of them, but when it finally gets to Oak Island, the coastline is right behind it. So as the tide goes back out, a lot of stuff would go back out and get caught in the swamp. So I think that it helps to compartmentalize there too, that big things like a road obviously didn't wash in with the tide, you know, and those things are very important to focus on. But the fact that you would get things dated to different times could be simply explained by that acting as a sieve, you know, that the water comes in, hits the coastline, goes back out, and a few things, because we're not talking about a week, we're talking about centuries.
Yes.
You know?
We're talking 200 to 300 years.
Exactly right.
And that Isaac's Point, a lot of people probably don't know this, but that is what they call a sand spit. And when that tide goes back out, it's actually pulling the land mass and the silt and all that, and that's why it goes out to a point there. That's what makes the trunk on the elephant. And there's other islands that are like that. So we absolutely know that the water's bouncing back and hitting the island and then rolling around it by Isaac's Point and going back out, and that could be also depositing things there. But again, things like big spikes, I mean, some could have washed in there, and certainly that Spanish coin could have. You know, but when you get something as big as a road, and what I'm anxious to hear is if they took the wood out of that hammer that they found and carbon dated it, because that you couldn't date that hammerhead any other way, but you did it with the wood that's in there. And one other thing is what you were talking about, the swamp, and I've been by it a number of times, and just being by it, you don't really smell it, you know, or anything, but I'm sure the minute you put a foot in it, it just reeks, you know. But I think it was 2019, and Charles was taking me up, I believe it was to see Nolan's cross, but there was Rick coming out of the swamp, and honest to God, he was mud from his head to his toe. And I'm talking about mud. I mean, he was just brown like a swamp monster coming out. And I'm sure he didn't even want to talk to us because he looked like such a mess, but they wouldn't even let him ride home in the pickup truck. They put the tailgate down, and he sat on the tailgate and we rode away with him. And that reminded me of my old cross-country motorcycle and things where you come home covered with muck. You'd have to hose yourself off before you dared
slip and fall on that, and you're
and he jumps right in it. You watch him all the time, and he's got clothes on that look halfway decent, and he'll be like, what he did on this episode when I was showing when he jumped in there, when he did that right there. You know, he's got pretty decent clean clothes on there, and his phone in his pocket. And he's like, oh, what's that? And he just jumped right in there. I mean,
I've never seen anybody so dedicated to anything. I mean, people tell me I'm dedicated because of all my books I've written and research and stuff, which is continuing. But one of the people up there that's behind the scenes told me he's there 7 days a week. And the one of the things that really stands out to me was I was there, I don't know what year it was, but we'd been talking after the War Room meeting, which went for a long time. And that's one thing is that Maddie said they had like 70,000 hours of film. Yeah, and I believe it. I think I've been filmed for probably, I don't know, 12 to 20 hours. And if you count the actual times my face has ever been on the screen, it's like a half hour or something for every show, you know?
Right.
But anyway, so it was getting a little bit towards dusk. This was back when they were doing all the dynamiting the seismic drilling, I think they call that.
Yep.
And Charles had shown me where they just had a slew of those flags. You guys wouldn't even believe it. It was just a sea of flags going through the swamp. Not the triangular swamp, but the marsh, I should say, and muck and everything, and they had them everywhere. And so I was saying goodbye because I thought, "Craig, if the day isn't over by now, when's it going to get over?" And he goes to his pickup truck and pulls out a chainsaw. And I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I got to go cut some new tourist path because we got dynamite planted. We don't want anybody to get hurt." And all I could think of is, "My God, you're the
You're number one person.
The star of the show. You're out there.
Go sit in the chair and sign autographs."
Yeah.
And let some flunky go and cut those trees down or something, you know. But
no, that's not.
And that's when he walked away with it, and that's when that other person she just shook her head and said, "That guy's here 7 days a week. He can't quit, you know." And
yeah,
it's he's got islanditis worse than anybody, I'm sure. But there's an awful lot of us that have it at this point. And,
oh yeah, for sure.
There's no cure.
And some of us, like me, have never even been there, but I've been trying to get there for a couple of years now. But with COVID and everything going on, I've not been able to get there. Hopefully 2022, I can get out there for sure. I'm going to try. I know Linda and I were talking about that, trying to make our way out there next year if it's open.
If it's open up.
But yeah, we've heard that about Rick, and you can just tell he's that kind of person that has that mentality. You know, the thing of it is that, you know, you talk about working. If you enjoy what you do, if you love what you do, it's your passion, and you're going to do it well, and you're going to spend all your time doing it because you just love it so much. And that seems like Rick in this. I mean, you know, he's retired, obviously. He was a postal worker, but he's retired from that. But you can tell that this is now his job. It's also his life. And so when he's on the island, or when he's there, when it's time to be on the island, I can just imagine, just like you said, he's going to be there and he'll stay. He's probably one of the last ones to leave at night, I would imagine.
Oh yeah. And then they, from what I know, having been there, they start their production meetings in the morning at 8:00. So if you got to be down to the island, I mean, you got to take a shower sometime when you're calling in and out of swamps. So,
yeah.
You know, it's like a 6:00 wake up, grab some breakfast, get cleaned up in clothes. You know, you're just going to get dirty again and get down there for that production meeting. That's pretty cool the way they do that. Because there's, you know, at least as many Prometheus guys as there are people on the show.
Right.
I mean, there's like they have drone operators and 3 or 4 camera guys and everything, you know, and going back to I got to tell you a story about Charles, but going back to it not being scripted, I have never once was told what to say in all the 15 hours or whatever I was on camera. And I think I might have told you this before, but the one time I was told what not to say was they told me drive across the causeway and pull up by the war room and Rick will come out and meet you. Well, there were only 2 pickup trucks there, and I'm thinking, well, there's probably only about 4 guys in there. And so he came out and met me, and we walked in, and cripes, everybody was there except Dan. It was back when Dan was still around.
Right.
And I said, my God, or I said, wow, you brought the whole fam Danley. And the producer goes, oh, wait a minute.
All right, back outside.
Back outside.
Can you just come through the door another time and not say that? So that's the only time I ever got announced the direction from them on what to say or what not to say or anything in all that time. And but I have to tell you, you talking about Rick enjoying the job, and I got a million stories, so I'll quit with this one. But Charles took me down to see Nolan's Cross, which first I have to say, you know, there's 1,000 rocks. There's probably 2,000 rocks on Oak Island, but there aren't big ones. The big ones are Nolan's Cross. I mean, that's obvious. You can, you know, there are some other rocks that are getting close to that, but the Nolan's Cross rocks are the big rocks on that island.
Yep.
But anyway, so he took me down there. So we're coming back, and he was showing me his Masonic ring and his Knights Templar ring, and he was smiling so broadly. And I said, "Well, you just seem like the happiest man in the world." He said, "Well, why wouldn't I be? I hunt for treasure on an island every day of my life."
Exactly.
I said, "Well, you got a point there."
Yeah.
So,
what a job!
A nice bunch of people, and they're just like you see them. I mean, I tell this to everybody. Gary probably is a little bit more of a clown than they show on the show, but everybody is just like that I've met everybody but Dan or Fred. I met Dave and
Right.
everybody, and they're all just like you see them. Laird's serious.
Mhm.
Steve's pretty serious.
Right.
Doug's just such an ardent researcher. I've been to the Nova Scotia Archives with him and the COGS, that College of
Right.
Geographic Sciences, in those libraries and stuff, finding little tidbits here and little tidbits there, And, so anyway, I've been so fortunate to be associated with them, and even just to be able to watch the show with everyone else, because I don't miss it.
Man,
when
I tell
it's
you.
on. And
Yeah.
I'm
You
like
got the
a little
fever
kid.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like a little kid about it, because in 2017, which was the first year I went up,
Mhm.
Rick threw me one of those black T-shirts with the, that has the tunnel or the money pit going down,
Right.
the island across the top, and I wear that like I go on the Boy Scouts or something. I wear that every single show.
Do you get people? Do you wear it out in public very often? Do you get people noticing it and saying anything?
When I do some talks, I wear it under a suit coat, so I can show it off.
Mhm.
But I mean, I'll wait till like a half hour before the show is on. I'll get a little snack ready, and I'll go put my shirt on and sit down.
It's like a game jersey.
Yeah, it is. It's exactly what it is. I'm here doing the wave.
Yeah, you get your game jersey on. Yeah, absolutely. I would too. That makes good sense. Jack is over there sporting his Oak Island hat he's wearing right now. So, yeah. I don't. I got a Salty Dog Sea Tours hat back here, but that's all I got so far. But I hear tell that I've got something coming in the mail for me, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. That's really cool.
I got to tell you, I got something in the mail once it was my birthday. I don't know how they particularly found out about it, but Rick either called or asked my snail mail address, said he was sending me something, and I got a crew jacket. It's like one of those fleece. It's like one of those fleece jackets.
Yeah.
And it's crew, Oak Island crew on the front and something bigger on the back. I can't remember. And I just couldn't believe it. I even kept the package that was sent in.
I would too.
The FedEx package that was sent in. But the shirt's virtually worn out because I've worn it so much. But anyway, great bunch of people. And as far as what I'm doing, I got a lot more stuff coming. I just want to let people know I'm going to have another book in a while, but the one that's out right now is Oak Island and New Ross.
And I just ordered it. Matter of fact, it's supposed to be here tomorrow. I'm supposed to have it tomorrow.
Okay.
Now I got to find time to read it, but
well, you'll be interested to read about Nolan's Cross in it.
Good.
I made an amazing discovery, and then I got help from Steve Guptill and Tim and Alessandra for GPS points.
Wow.
And the cross arm of the cross points right to the foundation. And there's been 4 people now, including me, that have looked at it.
Wow.
I'm not qualified to, but I found it. And then I got a guy from out of Ontario that had studied the cross tremendously, and he verified it, and then Steve verified it, and then someone else along the way verified it. So
see, I know
it's not a mystery or a guesswork anymore. We've got diagrams to a point. So, but that's just one of the many things in that particular book. But I got some new, just bowl you over type stuff coming, but I'm still working on it, and I don't like to. You got to make sure. I think you were even saying a little earlier about that you find stuff and everything, but you have to confirm it.
Yes.
There's stages to it. One of them's finding it and jumping up and down.
Yep.
The other one is getting some kind of confirmation on it and making sense out of it, analysis. And I'm in the analysis and writing stage right at the moment, but it'll be done probably before or just after the season's over, I imagine.
Cool.
But there's plenty out there to read of mine and everybody else's.
Yep.
So
and we know that you've got your what's your weekly or the Oak Island I've forgotten the name of it all. I'm at a loss all of a sudden.
Oak Island Times. I did
Yes, the
5
Oak Island
issues
Times.
of that.
Yep.
I did 5 issues, but I didn't want to be competing with. I didn't know that they were going to do these digging or drilling deeper episodes. I'm so glad they did. I was just so happy to see that last night. But I knew that something would probably be coming up before the November date, and I didn't want to be competing with that because my goal there was to support it, not to compete with it.
Right.
So, but if you go to oakislandgold.com, then there's a tab on there for the Oak Island Times newsletters, and there's 5 of them. And I had interviews with Laird and with Craig and with Armin Legg, who was such a joy.
Carmen's cool. I like him.
Oh yeah.
He helped me with that book that you're going to get tomorrow.
All right.
He helped quite a bit with it. Yeah.
Good.
And the only one, well, of course, I would have loved to have Rick or Marty, but the other one I was really rooting for was Doug. And he told me right out, he said, I have not done an interview since I got involved. He said, because I got so much in my head, I'm afraid I'm going to say the wrong thing.
Yep.
But he did say, for you, I will do it as long as we, keep the questions safe. But then we never did get around to it.
Oh,
and,
that's a bummer.
With COVID and all the challenges they've had,
yep.
Testing everybody every day and not being able to get people there that they want to get there, and probably zooming every day some direction.
Yep.
I mean, not physically, but zooming on the
Zoom
computer.
call. Yep. Zoom calls. Yep.
It's a miracle that they've been able to keep going. A worldwide pandemic and a couple of hurricanes. Who cares? We got this.
We got this.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Well, we'll have to have you back on as you get
and
everything else.
Absolutely. And you never know. I mean, if you never know, because like last year, I remember we talked to you, and then boom, you were on the show like the next week, and because you don't know when they're going to use some of the stuff that ended up on the cutting room floor, but now they're using some of your footage again and talking about or showing what you were there on the island and talking about. So,
and you know what? Weird about that is they told me outright you won't know until you see yourself in the previews the week before. So they didn't use anything of the first year I was there, and that was agonizing. I went through the whole season and I wasn't there.
Yep.
So, but then one year Rick did call me and say, I don't know what week it's going to be, but it's going to be within the next 3 weeks. So that was the only heads up I ever got.
Yeah.
But last year I never knew it at all. I never knew that they were going to use it. I was we were at my mom's. She had passed away, and we were closing out the house, and the whole family was there. And it happened to be Tuesday night. And I said, "Well, can we turn Oak Island on in the background?" And we turned it on. There was my ugly mug, and so everybody was paying attention right then.
Yeah, we had you on the Saturday before.
Yeah, we had you on the Saturday before that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I ended up being on there four times that season.
Yeah.
And I never got a heads up on any of them. But it is complicated. I mean, it really is complicated. The miles of footage and all the items and all the people involved, and now they've got the extra archaeologists that they have to, and they're not like breathing down the neck, but they're certainly looking over their shoulder on everything, because that's what had to happen in order for them to proceed. So, it got dramatically more complicated from year 1 to
absolutely.
season 1 to season 8.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just for the number of people. All those people got to be fed, chow time. They got to,
And we saw that for sure when they did the drilling down episode of, behind the scenes. I loved that one. That one was really cool because you got to see the number of sound guys, the number of camera guys, the caterer. I mean, she's there, getting everybody fed in the tent and everything with the picnic tables. I mean, you saw the behind the scenes of how many people they send all these cameras. Okay, you're going to be covering Gary today. You're going to be covering Rick, and you're going to be covering, and then off they go. They got their assignments and off they go. And it's just, what a deal. I mean, it's literally a production.
And that's exactly how it happened. The one time, the only production meeting I was able to watch, just because got there early.
Mhm.
I was just standing off to the side, but they literally, the main guy had everybody lined up in a circle, and I don't know the names, but he'd say like, Tom, Dick, and Harry, you're going with King Gary down to
Mhm.
the Cove today or whatever, and you guys are going whatever, and they give it, and they're all like nodding their heads, okay, you know.
Yep.
And
Off
then
they
they
go.
all had breakfast. They had breakfast. They took off, you know.
Yep.
And I wasn't allowed. I've never been allowed to actually follow any of the search. I mean, I've never went out with Gary or
Mhm.
went up to the money pit when they were drilling. I was up there when they had drills set up
Right.
a few times, but they weren't drilling. They weren't actively doing anything.
Mhm.
And I think they don't want that, you know. I mean,
Right.
understandably,
Yep.
you know.
Insurance purposes and everything else, I'm sure.
What was that,
What's
Jack?
that?
Just because of insurance purposes and safety purposes, you don't need a whole
Yeah,
bunch of people up there.
That's true. And you let one in, then you got to let 10 in, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You set a precedent. But, yeah, it's pretty cool. And I mean, they're hard workers. Like I was there one time when Mike Tedford, and I can't remember the other guy, but they were just breaking for the day, and they were just mud covered, and they were exhausted. You could tell they were exhausted, you know. And Mike actually, I got him to stop to take a picture with me because that was my wife's maiden name was Tedford,
Oh, really?
and
Wow.
there aren't very many Tedfords around, so I was telling him, but he thought it was cool. So, but he was mud too. But so I mean, they're seriously doing stuff. There's no play acting. And
Oh, yeah.
if anybody, when people say that, I just get so ticked off because.
Yep.
But I can't blame them because they aren't there and they haven't seen it firsthand. You know, they haven't
Right.
seen it covered from head to toe with mud and whatever. But and that one time I was there, I tried the first year. My first 2 years, I think my presentation was 2 hours, and it went like to 3 hours, and I used like 10 minutes.
Right.
So that last one I went up there, I thought, well, I'm gonna make it 1 hour. Then if they use 10 minutes of it, they use 10% of it, you know.
Yeah.
And honest to God, those guys were out working all day long. They were just dragging their butts. Came in there, they kept me in there for 4 hours.
Wow.
I was wanting to fall asleep. You know, they just kept asking questions and asking, and particularly Jack is just an amazing, brilliant mind. People just don't know. I mean, they think he's a muscular shoveler for Gary, but
Yeah.
that guy's paying attention to everything. In fact, the first year I went up, he asked for all my research stuff, and I was thrilled. Yeah, here, take it all, you know. So anyway, I better get off the phone, but enjoying the show, and good luck with everything.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for calling in.
That was great. I really love when you guys call in. This is awesome. Thank you so much and giving us some insights. Folks, make sure you check out that new book just came out. It's Oak Island and New Ross. And you're talking about how Nolan's Cross, the arms of Nolan's Cross are pointing right towards New Ross, to somebody's house that we've had on the show, or a property, I should say, not property that is up there. So I can't wait to read it. Like I said, it's coming in the mail tomorrow, and I got to carve out some time. I'm so busy these days. I got to carve out some time to read it. So, but hey, thank you so much for calling in, Jim Mcquisten.
Okay,
thank you.
You guys take it easy. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye now. Wow, that's awesome. Wow. Thank you so much, Jim, for calling in. That was great. Man, oh man. I don't know. I can't. How do I follow that up now? Try to move along. Well, we were trying to do the show, and tonight we got some friends of ours. Their show, Carl Cookson and Hamilton White. Their show, second season of Lost Relics of the Knights Templar on Discovery Channel, starts at 9 o'clock. So I wanted to be done by then. We're running out of time real fast here. So, all right. So let's move right along. So, all right. Whew, where was I? The lock. Okay, he found the lock, and we never did find out about this one. I was hoping that this would be one of the ones we got to see Carmen talk about. Carmen should be able to talk about that this season, I would think.
Yes.
When we had him on the show last year, he wasn't allowed to talk about this yet. Or not last year, last season, I should say. It was this year. But maybe this time he can, because he's coming back on. He's going to be here with us in December. So
He was back. He was out like in early January or something.
Mhm.
When the season was still Still pretty young.
Yeah, yeah. And then we seen this lock, and I thought, man, I don't know. I wanted to know more about that lock. But the thing about this lock that I was going to point out is that the shackle on it is rounded, and the old ones were squared off, and this one's rounded. So that would make it not being all that old, I don't think. So, but anyway, maybe that's why we didn't see much more about it. Because, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody out there that, but I think the older ones have these squared. The shackle on it is squared off and not rounded like that. So, but I mean, I don't mean the arc of it. I mean the round of the metal. So anyway, but that was a cool find. All right. So then next, what they did was they ran over and we jumped to the war room. And this is when they have Christopher So on here, and they're taking a look. And as you see, Craig on camera there, or on the Zoom call, and they're taking a look at the nail that Gary found when he was came over to look at the. He ran his little close in his pinpoint metal detector along in the wood, or one of the samples that they had taken out of C9. And at about 95 feet in C9, they found that little piece of nail. So they were taking a look at that nail. There you see, there's Krista and Craig Tester, of course. And there's a shot of that nail. And just a piece of it, just the end of it, and a square nail. And that square part of it gives you a date. And also, not only that, the way it was forged and hammered out, and the fact that it was squared off, and the content of it that Krista brought up on here, which I'm not going to try to go through all of that, but it was C9 lot 18 money pit, and talks about the what'd you call it? Magnesium?
Manganese.
Yeah.
Manganese.
Okay. A 0.68%. Because of all these factors, she made it, give it a date of post 1840, which that is good. And again, it's one of these things. You find a piece of metal. What is good about that piece of metal? Okay, it's a piece of metal. Who cares? No, it actually tells you something, because at this time, what they're trying to do is find where the Tupper shaft is. Okay. And so this being timed about that, the nail being about the right time, the Tupper shaft was dug in 1850. So, and if this nail is from the 1840, post 1840, that puts it right in the right time frame. So that's why it's important. So these things tell a story, and that's why you need those facts so you can put things like this together. Yep. So that was really neat about that. So because they're trying to make sure that they found the Tupper shaft. Okay, so back over to the money pit. Let's see here. This is they were over here. They were working on CD. And again, I love these pictures. What was it?
CD 8.5.
Yep, CD 8.5. And you see this core sample laying out here on the table. Terry wants to watch for anything or signs of timber, things like that would indicate that they're near a shaft. And they pulled up this particular one. It was 18 to 28 feet in this core sample, and they found wood, about 4 feet of wood from 24 to 28 feet, which would indicate that they've hit a wall, and that's what he was talking about. Then when they drilled down through there, they actually hit a part of a wall, and that's what they wanted. They wanted to, because this is, again, leading to the fact that they might have indeed hit the Tupper shaft. And why is that important? Because of the Tupper shaft's orientation to the original money pit, and that's this picture right here. Now, this is the artist's rendition of it here. This would be the money pit, this shaft right here, and here's the Tupper shaft. Okay, so they know that the money pit was, let me rephrase that. They know that the Tupper shaft was put in 10 feet away from the money pit, the original where they knew the money pit was, because they were trying to go down and alongside and cut into it and avoid the flood tunnels. And trying to get into it. So that's why they were doing this. And so they know that it was 10 feet away. If they can narrow down where the Tupper shaft is, that will help them find out and know where the money pit is, correct? So that's why it's important to find. Next in there, they ran over to go see Carmen. So they ran over here to the farm. Let's see here. Get my notes back together here. So they ran over to I'm sorry?
Latch.
Oh, you froze there for a second. What was that?
It's for the latch. You remember to talk about the latch that they found.
Yep. So they came over and they were talking about so Doug and Scott are over there, and they brought with them to come over and see Carmen Lake. They brought with them the lock mechanism that they found, that Gary found. They cleaned it up a little bit and took it over there so they could get an analysis from Carmen on this lock mechanism. And right off the bat, he tells them, yep, it's a double bolted lock. Could be very old, probably used in a chest or something like that. A lot of people were saying initially that, oh, no, that's probably from a door or something. Well, in my next couple of pictures, and I brought this out earlier last season, this is a modern version of the double bolted lock mechanism right here with the key. And there's a cabinet that it could be in. So there's a box or a chest that this works in. So there's that mechanism on the inside, and this piece up here has the two little tongs that come down in. You lock it, and that lock secures these into the base. So there's how it could be used in a box or a chest. So Carmen was exactly right when he said that was very well from a chest, because there's a very good picture of how they're still used today. For that very same thing. Now, I don't know if we got a date on that thing. He didn't give us a date on that.
They did not give a date.
Okay. All right. Unfortunately, yeah, we didn't get a date on it. It looks pretty old, but we don't know for sure on that. Okay. So next we jump over to the war room. So you got Craig, Marty, and Jack in the war room. And they're basically sitting down. They're talking about the fact that they are looking for the Tupper shaft. That, again, going back to what I was saying earlier about finding the Tupper shaft and knowing its orientation, so they know where the money pit is in relation to it. So that's what the drill program that Craig came to the island with, was to find out where that is. He also tells Marty that we either need to go southeast toward OC1 or west towards C1. So that they know that it was 10 feet away from the money pit. The next day, they head out to the Ball Foundation. And they go out there. That was on lot 25. This is the original Ball Foundation house. And they go out there. There's a picture. I just love this right here. All these rocks showing the basement and the whole underneath of the house on the rock walls that he had constructed to put this. And they went out there and they found a piece of pottery. Many pieces of pottery, actually, over the course of the season. They found quite a few of them out there. Different pieces of, and this one was kind of cool because it had that tortoise design. You can see right here on the glazing that still remains on this piece. That was kind of cool. But there was a lot of different types. And of course you had, whoops, I jumped out of there already. And of course you had, I think Rick was talking, or Marty was talking to Liz and Laird were out there. And he was talking to them about the fact that all these different pieces of pottery shows that he was a man of wealth. He had money. We know that he did because of the properties that he owned on the island and everything. So that was very interesting. So after that, we jump back over to the swamp, and you can see where they're at. Now, this is Nolan's Peninsula sticking out right here, and they're working their way along, and they're basically following the road. The rocks, and they're heading out there. As we know, it went on further, but that's what they're working on right now to get there, to find out where the road goes. That was important. And then it pays to plant cabbages. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So then Gary found this. They weren't sure. I don't know that we ever got an answer.
We never got a good explanation of what that was.
Yeah. A shackle or a bracelet of some type or something. Here, Gary was trying to figure out how it actually would hook together. He was making a circle with it here, and then he turned it around and flipped it around and was making it like that. I don't know that Gary, I'm sure that Carmen probably saw this at some point. They take everything that's metal over to him, but we didn't find out. So we don't know whatever came of it.
Maybe they do another 10 things they do another 10 things for the show.
Yeah, maybe
that's on there.
Yeah, exactly. And then was the big find of this particular episode was the Ringbolt. And that Ringbolt is cool. And they had this thing, and of course, I loved when Rick came out because they were showing that there were some of the Ringbolts that Fred Nolan had found where he found the ones that were actually embedded in rock, and used for. Now, what would that be used for? It would be used for mooring of a boat, a ship. Maybe a bunch of them, like Carmen said. If you had a bunch of them, you would be able to moor a ship. But a ship is going to be a lot. That's got to be a really big rock to be able to hold a ship from moving in the tide and everything else. So I would say it'd be a smaller boat, in my opinion, on the one that's in a rock. But then again, I could be wrong. But that's what the picture of one in a rock. And then so Rick came over. They invited Rick to come over because they wanted to show him. Look at a smile on his face when he saw that thing. Well, I think actually this was when Gary was teaching, and of course, like Jim Mcquisten just said, about Gary being such a jokester and everything, but he was hiding it from him at the time. And then of course Laird and Sirius Laird and Doug coming over, and he was showing it. Then he showed it to him, and he was showing how it's splayed on the bottom, open up and everything. So that was really, really cool. To see the look on Rick's face when he got to see that, because that was one of the things they were really looking for, was some of the ring bolts that Fred Nolan had talked about, the ones that he had found. All right, so that ends up with episode number 13, and now we're going to jump over and kind of run through episode number 14 real quick. Let's see. All right. And again with the island, then the guys are heading back over to the swamp. There you got the team heading over there with Doug. And they're showing the Ringbolt to Tom Nolan. And Tom got a look at it. And of course, with the history of his dad, that was one of the things that they really wanted to find. And he actually got to hold one in his hand that not that his dad found, of course, because that one was buried pretty deep, but it was a kind of a special moment, I think, for Tom, to be able to actually have them find one that he could hold in his hands, something that his father was very,
to verify it was there.
Yeah, exactly. Really. Yep, for sure. And then we jump over to the money pit. And they're still at this point of the show, the second show, they're still working on CD 8.5. And again, showing the Tupper shaft, and they think they hit the one wall there. And then, so that was really quick. Oh, they said they found wood at 57 and 58 feet. They found wood again. So they figured that they're hitting that wood as they go down. Remember, the other one was in the 20s to 28-foot range, I think. And now they're hitting wood still at 57 and 58. So they're pretty certain they're going down the wall. They're following the wall down. Okay, it does move a little bit. Those things do walk a little bit, but they're hitting the wall down. And again, that's pretty important. Tom said, or barges to get into shallower water to move heavy materials. Yes. Exactly right. Yep, that's right, Tom. So there's Laird in there, and then you got Liz over there, both working the ball property as they did most of the season. And there it shows you a picture of the properties that Samuel Ball ended up eventually owning. We were kind of wondering earlier, talking about why in the heck would he want for lot 32? Why would he have ever spent his money to buy lot 32? Don't know. Maybe he wanted the shoreline, because the swamp had to be pretty much useless, and mostly it is swamp. There's some land there a little sliver. But anyway, he was a very wealthy man. Now it's
cabbage farmer.
Huh?
For a cabbage farmer.
For a cabbage farmer, yes, exactly. One of the things that I found very interesting about him was this book right here. This paper that was published. It's a history of the county of Lutenberg. And this was really cool because of the fact, and this was in 1870, and it talks about Ball being one in this thing. It talks about Ball being one of the three that originally found the money pit. Now, we've talked about this before and how that goes back and forth. Was he or was he not one of the original people that found the money pit? He was definitely on the island or owned property on the island when the money pit was discovered in 1795. He had bought his property prior to that. Whether he was living there or not, don't know. But he did own property on it prior to, and that's what James Mcquisten was talking about. There were quite a few people that owned, everybody, they owned property on the island prior to the discovery of the money pit. So there was that lull period between the depositors and the actual searching for it that happened. There was people living there. So some of the artifacts that they're finding could be from those people. Anyway. But the history of the county of Lutenberg had stated in there that Samuel Ball was one of the original people. in later publications, his name was taken out of the 3, and it was either Smith or Vaughn. I can't remember which one was put in. I think it was Vaughn was added after that. So Ball was taken out, and I believe it was Vaughn that was added as one of the 3 people that found it initially. So that's pretty interesting, is it not? So maybe some of his wealth came from him being one of the 3 people that found the money pit in the first place. Don't know. Anyway, Gary and Marty are out there working that same area, the Ball property. They're going around with the metal detector. And initially, they find a pocket knife. Now, Marty said something about this being a finer one. So for a gentleman would have a pocket knife, and pretty much everybody carried one back then. I mean, I do now. I carry one. My dad always did. But anyway, so this was a nicer one. You can see the other side of it there. So that was a neat find. But again, I don't think we ever got that thing dated. It doesn't really. I don't know that this would go back that old.
That far.
Yeah, that far back. I don't know. But then one of the other finds that they found was this little piece here that said patent on it. It was a little patent plate, which was really cool. And again, one of those interesting finds that they were speculating came from a musket or a gun or something like that, that must have fallen off, and might have been a firearm that was owned by Samuel Ball that was on his property. So pretty cool that too. And then we go back over and visit with Kerman Legg. So over here at the blacksmith shop, Northville Farms, and they come in there and they bring over to him. And again, we talked about this when we talked about episode 14 earlier in the year. We talked about this bubble wrap package.
The bubble wrap
that Charles is holding right there. Pretty interesting. But anyway, he got Carmen. They went out. They brought the Ringbolt out there to Carmen to get his assessment on it. And I liked what he right off the bat. He said this would be for wood. This one would have been in wood, not in a rock, not in stone of any type, because of the splaying that's on the end of it when they splayed open the end.
And he also said I would be bigger on the boulder one also.
Yeah. Yes. I'm glad you pointed that out. Yes, you're right. Exactly. The reason it would have been splayed would be so that it would not be pulled back out of the piece of wood you put it in. So, and he said, Charles tells him that the Ringbolt was not used after 1760. Doug states that since this was found on the stone road, that could mean that the stone pathway predates 1760. So another good piece. Now you find the Ringbolts. What do they mean? It tells you a story. Now something they were showing during the show, they brought this up. They were talking about that anomaly that they found when they did, Dr. Spooner did the scans off the coast, just off in the ocean, just outside of the southeast corner of the swamp. And they found that square anomaly that Tony Sampson ended up diving on and said this was probably part of a wharf, a ship's wharf at some point. There's that anomaly again, showing this right here. And there you go. So this, I grabbed this picture because this shows the actual use of one of those Ringbolts in wood. And a close-up shot, boom, right there. That's what it's going to be used for. So that particular one would not be in rock. It would be in wood, and the splaying would keep it from pulling back out, and it would be for tying up some sort of a barge, like Tom said, or a piece of wood, or I mean a smaller boat. Yeah, Henry said, I hope they spend more time searching the Ball property next season. More answers need to be found about Ball and his money. Yes, I agree very much, Henry. So they had a little powwow on the dock there, or on the deck, and they were talking about that pin again. And what's really cool about that thing is that he was asking Tom about it, about what his father would think. Rick was asking him actually when they first saw it in the money, or over in the swamp, and he said something about I was right. I told you so. That's what Tom said. He would have said, I told you so. Because then it all leads back to there being, so many things that they found do lend us to believe that there may have been a boat in there, a large boat in there at one time. They found so many different things that are leading to that belief. And that stone pathway being some sort of a roadway to unload boats. You got this Ringbolts there to tie up a boat to. And it would have been in wood, so there would have been some sort of a dock there at some point, or a small wharf to bring the boats in, tie them off, unload the boat onto a cart that are being pulled by oxen across the stone road. Are you unloading or are you loading? Are you bringing treasure in, or is it just simply being used for what other purpose? The military? Don't know. We still don't have that answer yet.
No.
Okay, so back over working on the road again, and they were getting some. They brought over. This is down where they're over by Nolan's. I think they're actually on the other side of Nolan's Peninsula at this point. They found the road does continue on, so they brought Steve over to actually get his GPS so he could see the sea level. How high is it? The same elevation as the one that's over that is on the stone pathway, and also the road leading over to this point, as well as the stone paving or the stone area that they found last season in season 7. And he did confirm that it was all the same, that it were all the same height. So that's very important to say that it was all used about the same time. It was all tied together. It was all part of the same pathway.
Freeway.
Pathway, freeway, stone roadway. And we were talking about them pulling carts. So they're going to be pulling these ox carts all the way up through there. And a lot of guys are going to be needed to get that all done. I don't think CC Carmen, because of his accent. Oh, right. They closed caption Carmen all the time.
Right.
And he talks very quietly too, but his accent, yeah. It's because of a lot of the people who read lips have trouble. It's not his accent at all. Oh, okay. Yep. Hey, very well. I took this picture here, grabbed this one for you guys because this shows you where they're at in that particular scene. So right back here, they're looking down and they're getting the GPS on that. And you look over here and this is where they are. So there's Nolan's Peninsula. They've worked their way across the stone road here and worked their way all the way up along, come across Nolan's Peninsula, and now they're over here and they're making their way out right up to the backside of the actual grassy part of the Nolan, Fred Nolan's property, right? Coming right up in here now. So they're getting really close. Now, as we know, they actually moved right up in this area and then it turns and comes this way, but we'll talk about that. Yeah, that is a good picture of this one. I know I always grab these like this because I just enjoy them so much. But you're right. It is a great picture of the swamp. And of course, there's the eye that never seems to not have water in it and nothing grows in there. And because of the blue clay plug, I'm still going to call it a plug. But yeah, it is a great picture and it shows all the activity going on. Here's where they were looking at, where Rick was over here looking on the road and found that little wall that extends right here. They got a drainage going, across here for draining the water. Just a really cool picture, I think. And it kind of gives you an overview of what they've been doing, finding this road as it goes along. And then back over to the money pit once more. And this is CD 8.5 still. And they're looking at the wood that they found at 85. This says 98 feet. This is, again, hitting some of that wood wall right there, which is really, really cool. And then there's the guys out there. You got Scott and Terry, of course, and Steve and Charles. And they're all taking a look at this stuff. And they found a big chunk of wood that, according to Terry, was hand-hewn with an axe or something, the way his opinion was on this. And so they bring Rick over to take a look at that. And, because he really wanted to see this. Now, again, this goes back to the whole thing about what is this from? And it's because it's from, they believe, they're pretty certain at this point that it's from the Tupper shaft. Okay. So the big deal is this Tupper shaft. Now they have to punch some other holes around this area to find out exactly where the orientation of the shaft is in relation to, if they know that, then they know roughly where the money pit will be in relation to it, right? So there's Rick again, and they have a war room meeting about this very thing. And they bring up some pictures. Now, this is where the Tupper shaft is. Now that they've figured out exactly where it's at, this is where it is in this area here. The one thing they don't know is its dimensions for sure. Was it 10 by 10? Was it 8 by 8, 6 by 6? They're not sure. 6 by 10? They weren't really exactly sure. So they were thinking that if the Tupper shaft is 10 feet away from the original money pit, then the money pit, they were making the assumption that the money pit is over here on the east side of the Tupper shaft. But now they're thinking that that may be incorrect at this point of the show. They're thinking, actually, based upon this map, this little drawing that was done that Doug had found in Dan. What was that?
Room.
Yeah, it was in Dan Blankenship's files in the basement of his house. When he spent the winter going through all these files, he found this. Now, they've made the determination that A is the Tupper shaft, or the Tupper pit. He calls it here the Tupper pit. What do you see right here? The money pit. Okay. Over here, they were saying the money pit was on the east side. But after they got a look at this map, they're like, okay, it's very likely, it looks like the money pit is actually on the west side of the Tupper shaft. That would put the money pit right here, if that's correct. So they had to start punching holes in here. Now, this is the Dunfield dig, this big circle. Well, you're going to think, well, the Dunfield must have found it then if it was there, right? No, because if this is actually where it is, Dunfield's dig went 143 feet down, but the cone of it was started off at 100 feet in diameter, but as it went down, it was a cone. It got smaller and smaller and smaller. So this circle you see right here was the actual bottom of it at 143 feet. The money pit's, a little deeper than that, so they missed it completely. If that's the Dunfield dig, if all this lines up and that's true, they missed it. They missed where the money pit is. Dunfield.
They didn't drill that kind of a hole though either.
Right. Now they did show this next to C1. We know that C1 is one of the deals that has hit a lot of wood in C1 that dated 1706. Okay. So was that, if it's 1706, it predates the money pit, the finding of the money pit. So is that truly the edge? Is this where the money pit is? Could be. Now I do have one more picture to show. Now then we're going to call it a night. And that other picture I want to show you is this one right here. And this is Deidre. This is Deidre's map that she sent me. Oh, that I won. She said I won it. And I guess I did. I got it for maybe being second place, I guess, in the trivia. Okay. So here is C1. Here's the edge of the Dunfield dig. And this is the Tupper shaft. Now hers is done. Her map is done. I believe it's done for the end of season 8. And if that's the case, then all these holes have already been drilled. All these other ones that they have not yet, where we are in the season, these have not been done yet. But you see all these different ones here. There's the CD 8.5 is the one right there where they figure they've hit the edge of the wood, the wall going all the way down that they hit at different levels, 50 some feet and everything. They've hit the wood. And then what they needed to do was punch these other holes in here around to find out exactly the orientation and the size of the Tupper shaft. And that's why all these other holes are being punched as we go along. We will hear more about these as in BC 8.5 is the one that they were doing right here at the end. The next morning, the team rolls out to drill BC 8.5. That's this one here. They want to try to go down the middle of it and hit the bottom and see how deep it is. So that's why I wanted to show this map. So really cool. And there's C1. So if the money pit is there, they're figuring the money pit is right around in here, and they've hit some of these BC 5.5. So we'll see as we go along with any of these are true, or did they miss it again? Is it over here? Is it over here? I don't know, but they got to keep looking for it. And hopefully this year
They find something.
Because we know that they're out there with the, they went out the beginning of the season, core drilling. Choice drilling was out there pretty quickly this year in the money pit working and punching holes in there more. And then we know that they have an 8-foot hammer grab or an 8-foot case. They're putting 8-foot caissons down on the ground right now. I would have to think that they must have They must have figured out where it was. We'll find out in season 9, will we?
They have gotten a lot of equipment going over.
Yeah. Yeah, even this late in the season. Actually, I mean, they still got time. They're still filming out there, and they will even after the show starts on November 2nd. They will still be out there filming and doing some work unless the weather turns nasty and starts snowing on them heavy. But they're going to keep it going. Anyway, thank you, Deidre, for your maps. I love these things, and she's got some really well detailed maps. And it doesn't show all the walking of all the what did Marty called it, spaghetti map, with all the showing all the where the drill was walking. You know, it'd start over here in BC 7.5 and end up walking clear over here when it was down to the bottom. They put the gyro in it and find that out. So this is really cool. I like this map. Thank you, Deidre, for that. All right, Jack, what do you think? That was
2 good episodes and a couple nice phone calls. I like that.
Oh man, that was great. Brian was great. We really appreciate Brian calling in. Thank you so much. And
And James is always welcome.
Don't be a stranger. Call in again sometime. Okay, yeah. Let me look here. Let me jump back and see if I can. Can I find it? What does it say on the map to the right and above C1? Wanda wants to know. To the right and above C1. Are you talking about any of these holes punched in here, or to the right and above, or this here, Dunfield Edge? Is that what you're looking for? I'm not sure. To the right and above C1, which is here, you've got these other holes. You got all the other wells that they've punched in the ground, and this is the Dunfield, the edge of the Dunfield dig area.
Yeah.
Is that what you were? No, Dunfield. What? No, Dunfield. I'm not sure what you mean. So is this what you were looking for? These here, I can zoom in on it even bigger. To the right and to that. So you got all these other holes that were drilled, and the Dunfield edge of the hole. So Dunfield, if the money pit was right here somewhere, he missed it. He definitely missed it. There's no doubt about it, because the cone of that Dunfield dig, by the time it got down to 100 feet, it was much smaller. And he would have already been way over here and missed it completely. I can see it now. So C4 and C5. Okay. Yeah. Right there. Yeah. There's C5 and C4.5. And all they're doing is they're using this grid. So you got your 4, 5, and 6 here. And then over on this side of it, you got your A, B, C. I didn't get it in the picture. Over here on this is your A, B, C, D lines. So that's the grid pattern they're using. So, yeah. Now if that's the money pit, you would think that some of these would have hit it. But again, they were walking. So did they hit it when they got all the way to the bottom? We don't know. But if the money pit truly is right in here, you would think that by the time, they punched all these holes, they would have hit it and known.
Something would have hit something.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So I don't know. I mean, maybe, maybe it's over here. Or maybe it's over here.
I know we don't have time tonight, but we should show that one map again of how bad things walk. You have.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've got a picture of it someplace. I did grab it, but yeah. So we'll start wrapping up here. Man, I tell you what, that was so cool for Jim and Brian to call in tonight. I really enjoyed that. I'm glad they took the time to call in. Oh, that's not it. Let's see. I got one. Maybe this one's it. I tried to take some pic. Oh, no, that doesn't show the walking either. No, this is the map that Linda had got for me. Let's see if I can flip it around here. Okay, this doesn't even show. I'll show it real fast here. This doesn't even show all the new holes that have been punched in here. Again, there's the C1, and here's some of the other shafts that they've drilled. I was starting to pencil them in myself just so I knew. It talks about the solution channel that runs through here. And that solution channel runs, if that's where the money pit is, it runs right through it. So, all right, folks, that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. I'm going to get off here and jump over and start watching. I've already missed some of the, but that's all right. It'll be up. Lost Relics of the Knights Templar. I don't know. Do you guys like that show? I enjoy it.
I enjoyed that show.
Yeah. Carl and Hamilton are great guys. I've loved having them on the show. They were so much fun. And again, some down to earth people, even though, the cars, the nice cars that Carl drives around in, and I wonder,
Yeah. I couldn't fit in them though. So what do
yeah,
I?
well, you're
Why
too
am I
big. Yeah,
saying
you're
that
too
thing?
tall, like Mr. 6'6" or whatever you are.
I'm 6'8". I could.
6'8". Oh,
I'd
there
have
you
to get a can. I'd have to get a can opener to get me out in and out of there.
Yeah, for sure. And not only that, but you see the in Hamilton, I always think at Hamilton, you must go to his closet and he's got how many of the same type of shirts hanging up in the closet. Yeah, pretty funny. But great guys, really great guys. And they have stayed in touch with us and we've talked to them all throughout their filming season and everything. And having Sean Williamson is on tonight with them. As a matter of fact, that's why I wanted to go watch it. And Sean is working with us on TTNA, Team Templar North America. So I've talked to him many times. It's really cool. He's going to be on the show there tonight too. And you guys have seen him on here if you've watched our episodes with TTNA, Team Templar North America. Sean has been on there. So we've had him. We've had the guys from, Lost Relics with us. So yeah, a lot of fun. Those guys are really a lot of fun. And we're going to have them back on the show coming up here when their season finishes. We're going to have Carl and Hamilton back on again to talk about season 2. So if you haven't seen that yet, you can check it out. It's on the Discovery Channel and it's on right now. So we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for being here with us tonight. Jack, again, thank you for co-hosting with me. Thanks, Jim and Brian, Jim and Brian, for calling in tonight. And
Linda and Jan, thank you very much.
And Jan, thank you so much for all the hard work you do. And Brenda, for your maps and everything. We got so many great people in this group, I tell you. And the group just keeps growing leaps and bounds every day. We're at like 13,300, 400 people now. It's great. And we just love when you come and join the conversation with us right here on the show and in the group. Thank you guys so much for being here with us. Kate and everybody out there, Sandollar Ray, all of the folks out on the YouTube and on Twitch. And again, don't forget to click on that subscribe button and click that notification bell so you know when we got new content coming out. And don't forget, we also have our Patreon channel if you'd like to help support the show. Thank you so much for those who are on there now. Truly appreciate the support. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you Saturday, 2:00, right here on the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream. Bye now.